Here's the thing, the port was built in 1961, only 3 years before the 1964 Good Friday earthquake. This is a big deal for Anchorage's economy and anyone considering relocating here. There are 5 major changes coming to Anchorage, Alaska, and I want to tell you a little bit about them. They're important and make a big difference for anyone considering relocating to the last frontier, so don't miss out. The first one is the modernization of the Danyang Port of Alaska. Now this is huge. The Port of Alaska is basically Alaska's lifeline. About 90% of everything Alaskans need comes from this port. We're talking food, building materials, cars, fuel. If it's needed in Alaska, it's probably coming through Anchorage. Here's the thing, the port was built in 1961, only 3 years before the 1964 Good Friday earthquake, and the infrastructure is showing age. The good news is they just awarded a contract for over $800 million in work for a new terminal. Total modernization project, which will equal about $1.8 billion to $2.2 billion. This isn't just repair work, they're replacing everything in the water with entirely new earthquake-resistant infrastructure designed to last 70 years. The new cranes will be nearly 3 times the size of the current ones, going from 38 feet wide to 100 feet wide. That means bigger ships, more efficient cargo handling, and better connections to the rest of Alaska. The project is expected to take about another 10 years to complete, but when it's done, Anchorage will have one of the most modern ports in the world. The second major change is happening at Stevens Anchorage International Airport. Now, if you don't know much about Anchorage's airport, it's already pretty incredible. Currently the number 4 airport in the world for cargo throughput, and there's a reason for that. Anchorage sits at this excellent geographic position. You're about 3,000 miles from Washington, D.C., 3,000 miles from Europe, and about 3,000 miles from Asia. The airport currently sees about 5 million passengers a year, which is expected to grow to 8 million over the next 20 years. After 2 years of work and public input, it's just released its new master plan. What's exciting is the ongoing construction projects, major improvements including taxiway upgrades, new facilities, infrastructure improvements throughout 2024 and 2025. They're also building the new air traffic control tower. It will be the tallest building in Alaska at about 300 feet. This is huge for people relocating to Anchorage because that means better connectivity to the lower 48 and international destinations. Whether visiting family or traveling for business, having a world-class airport in your backyard is a real advantage. The third thing happening is a massive infrastructure expansion at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, or JBER, as locals would call it. This is a big deal for Anchorage's economy and anyone considering relocating here. $309 million project to extend the runway by 2,900 feet to reach 10,000 feet was launched in November of 2022. Why does this matter if you're not in the military? JBER is one of Anchorage's largest employers, and the base is home to nearly 70 tenant housing units, thousands of military families. When the military expands, that means more jobs, more families move into the area, and more economic activity. For people relocating to Anchorage, this means a stable, growing job market, good paying federal positions, and contract opportunities. Plus, military families bring a sense of community and stability to an area. The fourth major change was Major Susan LaFrance's administration. It's about housing. LaFrance became Anchorage's first elected female mayor, and she's wasting no time tackling the city's biggest challenges. Here's the situation. Anchorage has seen a 35% price increase in home values since February of 2020. And the municipality is on track to build less than 200 homes in 2024 when it needs to build 1,000 new homes every year. LaFrance has launched a 10,000 homes in 10 years initiative. That's adding 1,000 houses and apartments annually, about twice as many that were built in 2024. Her administration is implementing some key policies. First, a proposed tax break for developers building new multifamily units, 15 years of property tax abatement for newly construction multifamily housing, at least 8 units. They're particularly focused on denser neighborhoods like downtown and midtown and along public transit corridors. Second, they're changing zoning rules that impede development and stall new housing construction. Requirements for sidewalks, driveways, parking lots, and more are being adjusted to help facilitate new projects. This is great news for people looking to relocate to Anchorage. A larger housing supply should help stabilize prices, and more options will be available. Economists predict Anchorage's housing crisis should improve by 2020. So the fifth major change in Alaska's massive infrastructure investment boom, and Anchorage is at the center of it. The Alaska Department of Transportation is planning an estimate $900 million in construction awards for the 2025 season, an increase from the previous year. Federal infrastructure legislation funds some of this. Major multi-year projects include continued modernization of work at the Port of Alaska, developing Deepwater Port in Nome, Alaska's railroad bridge and track rehabilitation projects, and numerous airport improvements statewide. The infrastructure boom represents an opportunity for families considering relocating to Alaska. Whether you're in construction, engineering, project management, or other industries, there's a demand for skilled workers. Are you thinking about relocating to Anchorage, Alaska? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. I've linked it below. From employers to hospitals to boatload of things you need to know before moving. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. I hope this helps. Let me tell you the real story about Anchorage's current situation. The average Anchorage home value is $394,000 to $424,000, up 3.2% over the past few years. And typically homes go pending within 4 days. The Anchorage housing market is very competitive, scoring 88 out of 100. Alaska's population grew by 0.31% from 2023 to 2024, reaching an estimated 741,000 people, highest number since 2016. That's good news because the state is stabilizing after some challenging years. People relocating from the lower 48 should know that 48% of Anchorage homebuyers search to move out of the Anchorage area, while 52% look to stay within the metropolitan area. But interestingly, Seattle homebuyers search to move into Anchorage more than any other metro, followed by Los Angeles and San Francisco. The cost of living is higher than in most places in the lower 48, but salaries are also higher, especially in government, healthcare, or a skilled trade. But Alaska has no state income tax or sales tax. That's money back in your pocket. These developments reflect Anchorage's strategic approach to addressing urban challenges and enhancing the quality of life for residents. They also have incredible leadership at the state level. Infrastructure investments are forward-thinking, and the private sector is responding to new developments. Look, Anchorage isn't for everybody. The winters are long and dark. They're not as extreme as people think, but we average about 75 inches of snow per year, which is less than many places in the Northeast. Summers are incredible, nearly 20 hours of daylight, and you'll never run out of outdoor outings. If you're considering relocating to Anchorage, now is an interesting time. Major infrastructure improvements are happening. The housing market is expecting to stabilize by 2026. Job opportunities are growing, and the mayor is focused on improving the city's quality of life. The population is diverse and very welcoming. Remember, about 29,000 military employed people live in the area. So there's always been a culture of welcoming newcomers. The scenery is unmatched, the outdoor recreation opportunity is endless, and you'll be part of a community that always looks out for each other. If you're from Washington and considering moving to Anchorage, Alaska, watch the next video here. And remember to like and subscribe for more local insight. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end. Thanks.